Hello, BookTube. Well, it's Monday, and that seems like a good a time as any to do a kind of reading progress report for the weekend. I did a huge amount of reading this weekend, just gigantic, and it felt wonderful. I have a little baby dog, a tiny bean, who is very laid back. She is very, very laid back. She does not want to go outside. She does not want to go for long walks. She does not play. She mainly just wants to hang out. And so that's very conducive to reading. If the fates give me something like that, I'm certainly not going to turn it down. So I did a huge amount of reading this weekend. A lot of it was work related because I'm not retired. A lot of it was stuff there wouldn't be any point in talking about it. But I wanted to go through at least generally some of the books that we can talk about. It doesn't have to be a long video. And I encourage you to do the same. Tell me how your reading went this weekend. But like, for instance, I mentioned the other day I read this, actually it was a reread, The Battle of Corrin. This is the third volume of the Legends of Dune by Frank Herbert's son, writing basically elaborate fan fiction about events that are mentioned or alluded to in Frank Herbert's Dune series. In this case, the Butlerian Jihad, which destroyed mankind's acceptance of advanced machines, AI, that sort of advanced computing machines. The kind of thing that Frank Herbert, when he was conceiving Dune, his original novel, knew that he had to do. He knew that he both couldn't and didn't want to extrapolate where technology and computer related stuff would be 3,000 years from now. He was writing Dune at the very dawn of the first hints of what that technology might be able to do, and he didn't want to do it. He wanted a slightly more hands-on universe, so he created a thing buried in the past of his book called the Butlerian Jihad, so that you wouldn't have supercomputers running everything. He was familiar with the idea of supercomputers running things because that idea runs through a lot of his other science fiction, but not in Dune. And of course, hand in hand with that is that if you're not going to have supercomputers running everything, then you've got to have the human equivalents of them. And so these societies have grown up that are such a key part of the actual novel Dune. This is the son and Kevin Anderson do fan fiction. And I originally resisted these books. The first one was House Atreides, and I resisted it because it's so thin, prose-wise, compared to Dune. And I read a lot of the books. I believe that after the Legends of Dune series, I really dropped off on these. I'm not sure that I've read many of the others. So if Tor continues to bring these out in these floppy, nice trade paperbacks, that'll be great. Because I didn't find the rereading experience of the Butlerian Jihad, the Machine Crusade, and the Battle of Corrin. I didn't find the rereading experience here bad at all. Once you make allowances. I don't like the way the marketing that's been done with these things at all, where every attempt has been made in the last 30 years to trick the reader into thinking that these are all part of one series. They are not. Frank Herbert wrote only the Dune books that he wrote. He didn't write any of these. These vary from a lot of the stuff that he had in mind. And the combination of that marketing ploy and the lesser quality of prose here, the prose here can plod, and Herbert never does, disinclined me to like these books at first. And I guess enough time has passed so that I don't really feel that reaction anymore. Instead, I found it largely enjoyable to do. So I'm very glad that Tor has been sending me those. Then I was at a little free library. I was out with the Bean. We were out for 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, she started stopping every once in a while and asking me if I would pick her up, carry her for a while, or if we could just go home. Of course, she just doesn't have much interest in walking around. But we did get to a little free library, and I found something, and again, I could not remember if I had a copy. I found this, Fame and Folly by Cynthia Ozick. A collection of her essays, literary pieces for the New York Review of Books or Literary Journal or whatever. collected in one book with nice thick deckled edges and whatnot. I could not remember for the life of me if I had this. I like Cynthia Ozick's nonfiction a lot better than I like her fiction. I like her literary pieces. And I think she's one of the only people that I know in writing contemporary books who can call a piece an essay, and it actually is an essay, as opposed to the script of a stand-up comedy routine or just a book review. There are book reviews in here, but there are also essays in here. And I couldn't remember, and it was right there in Little Free Library, and I thought, no one else is going to take this. So I grabbed it, and I got it back here, and it turns out it is a double. But it didn't matter because I had it and it felt like the fate had ordained it, so I reread it anyway and loved it. I loved it. When I found my other copy of this, ordinarily that would mean a giveaway, but you don't know where you live. You don't know your mailing address, so I can't mail anything to you. It's going to take a while for that to sink in. The outgoing mail pile that has been a steady fixture of my BookTube existence for almost 10 years is not going to exist anymore. But I found this is very distinctive on the shelf. I didn't bother to look around to see if I have I think Cynthia Ozick has 2 other volumes of collections of essays and reviews, and I've loved all of them. I don't know if I have them all, but I reread this and really, really enjoyed it. And another thing that I have been living with, I read it when I got it as a galley, and I have been living with it ever since, is this thing. Goethe, A Life in Ideas by Matthew Bell. This is an amazing book. It is amazing. I have been just living in it, and that's good on a personal level because I've been enjoying it. Really, really enjoying it. I read it, and then I've just been prowling around in it, digging up things by the roots in it. So it's a good thing on that level. It's a bad thing because when I'm doing that with a book, I don't usually feel like I'm in a position to review it. And I should review this thing. I absolutely should. So I'm still working on it. When I was done with the galley, I went around my library to see who I had who had written anything about Goethe. Surprisingly little, but I found some, especially Thomas de Quincey, that I really enjoyed. And then I came back to the book and so on. I've been going to things in the supporting notes. I've just been living with this thing. I really, really do. As much as I've been enjoying it, I really do have to stop. I can't just live with it for the rest of the year. And then we can finish up with something that I think might be taking on the dimensions of a reading project. It'll be just for me. It'll be a reading project for one person, Deadly December. And the question that I have is, can I actually overdose on murder mysteries? Can I actually do that? If you haven't watched, if you're new to this channel, I love murder mysteries. Absolutely love them. And I've read a mountain of them, just a mountain. And the nice thing about murder mysteries is no matter how much you've read, there's a mountain still to read. And every time that I go into a mystery reading jag, where I'm reading a lot of them at a time, I've done a lot of that this year with Private Eye Fiction, which is essentially murder mysteries. Every time I do that, I always wonder, do I have an upper limit? Would I ever get sick of this kind of reading if I did even more of it than I'm currently doing? I had a friend once, an old friend, who read almost nothing but murder mysteries when he wasn't working. He had a rather serious job, but when he wasn't working, he read murder mysteries and just nothing else, basically nothing else. And this question used to come up between us, where I would ask him, do you think you would ever get sick of this? Do you think that I would ever get sick of this? And he always said that it was highly unlikely, highly unlikely, but I've never actually tested it. I've never actually tested to see, could I actually overdose on murder mysteries? I was wondering about that as I was looking with and struggling with my remaining mass market paperbacks. It used to be that my whole book collection was mass market paperbacks. It's not anymore. Now it's one bookcase. It's a heavily packed bookcase, but it's just one bookcase and nothing else. Because as much as I love them, they are just not convenient to read. The one bookcase that I have is triple stacked, and also on the top shelf of the bookcase, those things are stacked up to just up to the sky. And I was wrestling with those columns of books, and having huge numbers of them fall to the floor and whatnot, prizing out murder mysteries and wondering, well, what would happen? Would you actually get tired of reading murder mysteries? And I conceived of a plan, which is to first either read or reread all the murder mysteries that I have in mass market paperback. Murder mysteries were a staple of the mass market paperback. Them and romance novels were a staple of that particular publishing phenomenon. So was once upon a time possible to accumulate a vast number of them, and I have a vast number of them. So I grabbed two at random. One is a reread, and that is this, Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. With that is the movie cover, the movie cover with Peter Ustinov, not anybody else. And I have a running lukewarm relationship with Agatha Christie, and this, I think my main problem with her is that she does not trust her readers at all. Not at all. Which leads her to do two things over and over again. She does it all through this book. One of the things is to underline the things she wants you to notice. So if she tells you that so-and-so got out of a car and was wearing a seemingly plain outfit, she will be sure to include in parentheses, but only seemingly plain, in case you didn't get the word choice. And the other way that it manifests itself is that, oh my God, does she telegraph her big reveals, which is deadly for a murder mystery. She just does not trust that you're going to get a subtle clue. So she in her ham-handiness, she makes their clues anything but subtle. And I enjoyed Death on the Nile. I think this is probably the third time that I've read it. But when I was done with it, I wanted a murder mystery that I had not read before. So I went to Robert Robinson. And I read Landscape with Dead Dawns in these green and white Penguin crime series that usually never lets me down, usually never leads me astray. And this didn't lead me astray. The main character, the main police detective, his boss, who's kind of important because he dictates what this guy will do, is a thoroughly unbelievable character. And since it's a bookish murder mystery, it allows the author to indulge in the worst possible dumb stereotypes of bookish people. That some of which may be true, but that they're not interesting. If you're indulging a stereotype, then you're not doing the writing. And also the mystery itself, there are all sorts of red herrings and perfectly placed wrong clues and whatnot. It's a very intricate story by the end, but it's also not satisfying. The ending is not satisfying. The ending ends up seeming small. So, but it was still, like Death on the Nile, it was enjoyable, and I read these two, and I have a bunch of others. I pulled a bunch of mass market paperbacks from that bookcase. And what I really need to do is pull everything off that bookcase and organize so that I have all the murder mysteries together. That's what I really need to do. And then see where I want to go from there. That was the question that I had with these two things. Do I want to read... did Robert Robinson write anything else? With Inspector Autumn? Do I want to read any more of them? Do I want to find him? And what about a massive reread of Agatha Christie? Just on its own, that's a lot. When I was looking at these and a few of the others that I pulled out of that bookcase, I was thinking, okay, well, you want to read or reread all of these murders that you have. But these are all old titles. What about new titles? So, when I had made a semblance of sense of that bookcase, I came over to my work bookcase, the bookcase with all the new releases on it, and saw that November has two murder mysteries that I had sitting right there. November has about 100 murder mysteries in it. But we've seen them before on this channel. Sally Smith's Life and Limb, set in the Inner Temple in the turn of the 20th century. And then The Hidden City by Charlie Finch. His first Charles Lennox murder mystery in quite some time. And I read both of these. And boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy, is that a shock after having read classic murder mysteries. It is a shock to read these things. They are slighter, very much so. Now, in the case, I don't know Sally Smith at all. Charles Finch can write any degree of complexity. This Lennox murder mystery is 10 times more complex than the last one was. But he's still pulling his punches. And so I know it's not a question of authorial ability. Probably in a lot of cases it is. These MFA hothouse flowers, probably in a lot of cases they don't have the skill. But I know that plenty of them do. So the explanation for why these things would feel so much slighter than these things has got to be that that's where the market is. It's got to be that readers aren't as sharp. Which would be, that'd be pretty hard. That'd be pretty hard to take. That'd be pretty sobering. So I don't actually know what my game plan is because we're still in November and Deadly December doesn't start for a week or two more. So I'm not sure 100% what my game plan is. I think right now what I will do is read all the murder mysteries that are going to come across my plate for the rest of 2025. So probably, I'd say there are 1,000 murder mysteries, 100 murder mysteries that come out every month. I'm not going to read all of those, obviously. But probably for the rest of November, there are probably 6 or 7 with November pub dates that I have not read that I do want to read. So I'll do that, and then all the murder mysteries from the major houses that I intend to read in December. I think part of my game plan will be to do that, interspersing them with a couple of older books and rereads, and then once December shows up, I will go to town with Deadly December. I will just go to town with murder mysteries and read at least one a day, at least that. And see. I'll just see what I feel. I'll see, is it possible to overdose on murder mysteries? I wonder if some of you maybe read only murder mysteries. Maybe you do. Maybe you just decided that's all you're going to do. I mean, I always talk on this channel about FantasyTube. These channels that read the same 17 books, and if there's a new fantasy that is designed to push their buttons, you know they'll read that, but you can say with 100% certainty that a new historical fiction set in the time of the Cossacks they will not even know exists, much less read it. They have circumscribed their reading, and sometimes, as I've mentioned, that is a cause of envy. It's so secure. It makes it all seem so doable. Whereas if you're looking at the whole of the literary world, it doesn't seem doable because it's not. And I wonder, that's FantasyTube. I wonder if there's a MysteryTube. I wonder if some of you have just been reading nothing but murder mysteries for years and loving it to pieces. Keep in mind, I don't criticize FantasyTube for reading only fantasy. I feel a little bit of pity. They literally don't know what they're missing. It's been my experience, though, that the people I've known in my life who read only murder mysteries do know. They do know. They come from that larger literary world and have just decided to pull themselves into murder mysteries and stay there. Certainly that was true for my old friend. He knew the literary world outside and in. But he decided to pull into murder mysteries and just stay there. I wonder how many of you are like that. And I wonder, do I run the risk? I don't think I do. I'm an omnivorous reader. But Deadly December, I don't know what form it will take. Lots and lots of rereading, or should I go intentionally lean towards not rereads, towards mystery? There are a million mystery houses out there that I have not read, or that I have not read all of. I don't know. I'm going to give it a try. We'll see. I'll give it more thought, and I'll apprise you. But anyway, that is a kind of this thing. Oh my God, that is a kind of reading update for you. So feel free to let me know how your own weekend went for reading. I think one of the reasons why BookTube tends to concentrate on Friday reads or weekend reads or Monday reading updates is because for most of you, you have adult responsibilities. You have jobs or classes or whatnot. So the weekend is typically the time that you get for reading. So that makes it natural. That's not true in my case, but it's true for a lot of you. So let me know. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.